confirmation, the act of confirming something or the state of being confirmed. Matthew 14:28-29. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me to come unto thee on the water. And he said, Come. And when Peter had come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. Alright, so we're going to start here in Genesis chapter 8, and it says, And God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark, and God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. So basically, like, when you think of this right here, is Noah had been waiting for a while for God to show up, probably been sitting in the same place for a while, and God finally remembered him, and it was time for him to soon make his move. He had been stuck in the same place, stuck in the same ark for such a long time. He couldn't get out because there were water and danger all around him, so he could not move. It was dangerous for him to move. Sometimes we don't understand why God will have us in the place we are for such a long time, because there could be danger that was around, and we could be avoiding that danger. I think about yesterday. I just got out of work. My friend had came down to get me from work, and her car would not start. 4 hours. We tried everything. We changed the oil. We went to go see if it was gas. We had 3 different guys look under the hood of the car, try to jump start it, everything. So we finally called AAA. We waited for a whole hour for AAA to come, and then finally when AAA came, the guy got out of the car and goes, "What's wrong with the car?" We're like, "We don't know." He turns the key and the car starts. Do we know why? No. But I told my friend, you know what? God was probably avoiding something that was going to happen. And so her car did not start. And so everything happens for a reason. You know, my grandma was on the way to the airport. Maybe she could have gotten a car accident, but instead she was waiting with us for the car. You know, we never know what it is that God is doing. And so sometimes, you know, there could be danger all around, and so here we are, we're waiting. And so here, finally, God remembered Noah, and soon he was going to come out of the ark. He had not forgot him. Yes, there was still danger around him, but God was going to allow him to move forward and start going on his way. He just had to wait for the signals. So it says in verse 2, the fountains also of the deep and the windows of the heavens were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. So the rain, the storm that had been falling, finally passed, and everything had stopped. So now all they were waiting for was for the water to start drying up, and that's exactly what we're going to see happens. It says in verse 3, and the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the water were abated. And the ark rested in the 7th month, and on the 17th day of the month upon the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month, and the 10th month on the 1st day of the month, where the tops of the mountains seen. So finally, they were seeing a little bit of hope. Because they could see the top of the mountain. So once they were able to see the top of the mountains, it was getting closer to being able to see ground. It was being closer for them to be able to get off the ark. You know, you have to start looking out for the signs and the signals for it to be closer for you to be able to move. You think about being on any type of road, you know. One of the things that I noticed yesterday is my friend, before the tow truck even got there, she spotted the tow truck from afar, a distance. So she knew that at that point that it was almost her time to leave, because we figured that the tow truck was going to take her car and going to leave to another destination. You know, so that was a sign for her that she was about to head to her next destination. That was a signal to her that it was almost for her time to go. So we have to look out for the signals of it's almost time for us to go. They may be small, they may be little, but they're signs that are showing, you know, get ready, it's your time to almost go somewhere. I think about, you know, a few months ago, God told me, hey, Jasmine, go get some bins. And everywhere I went I saw someone with storage bins, storage bins, storage bins. And then I sat the storage bins in I went to the store. I, I got there. I had less money. Like, I lost my bank card. The storage bins were $14. I only had $10. I went up to the car to go get, like $4 from my grandmother and go back in the store. I mean, before I even could get out the store, there were storage bins sitting there for two for $9. So I ended up getting the two for the $9. So I just happened to lose my bank card, just happened to only have $10 on me, and the storage bin just happened to be on sale for $9. I mean, it was just a sign from God. And so everything that I own, since God told me to get rid of everything so that I can start anew and afresh as I move, just happens to fit in the two bins. It's not a coincidence. So, those are signs and signs, like he saw the top of the mountain. He knew that it was almost his time to go. He saw a signal. For me, getting the storage bins and having them packed up and having them ready was a sign that it's almost my time to go. You think about, as you go on any journey or any trip, as like if you go on my hallways right now, my grandma's actually going down to Florida to go spy out the land and go visit, so that she herself and my aunt can move there. But the signs that they're leaving are the fact that there's suitcases all over the place. So you want to look for the signs that show, or the signals that show that it's almost time to go. The ones that, maybe they're just natural signs, or maybe they're, signs in which God shows you, hey, it's time to go. It's time to almost move to the next place in which it is that you are going. So, probably by this time, Noah was getting really excited because, seeing the top of the mountains was a sign that they were close to ground. So I'm going to put up the first few questions, and then we're going to carry on, you guys. Peace. Have you been waiting on God to move to the next place in your life? Has there been signs and signals to show you to start preparing for your next destination in life? Alright, you guys, so the next one that we're going to talk about is going to talk about the raven, and we were going to talk about the dove. And I'm really excited about this because God has been really using these animals in my life. Like, when talking about the raven, I always think about, like, the crow. It's like a sign of death. And you think about the dove, And so, like, whenever, like, since I've been on my journey, God has used these animals, like, so much in my life. So, like, I remember, in the summer, last summer, I really wanted to hurry up and just move to Florida. I was going to just up and leave and everything. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting outside doing a lesson, and I had to re-record it because all of a sudden, in my mind, was like, I'm moving. And in God's mind, he was just like, no, it's not time yet. And there was all these crows like flying over me, and I'm like, okay, I get the picture, like, I get it. Like, it's not safe yet. It's not okay for me to go. And then I remember last time that I was in Florida, and I had just went through some stuff, but I was realizing that, that it was almost my time to go because and move, because I was sitting at this hotel and there was these doves, and I said, you know what, God, I said, I am giving up on, what it is that you're trying to tell me, because I had just been through a hard time, and I said, I'm not doing this anymore. And so I said, if this is you, trying to communicate with me, have that dove fly to the top of this roof. And the dove flew over there. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy. And then that same day, I kept seeing, like 5-6 trucks that says a second chance. And I'm like, God, like, this is not real. Like, and you think about Noah, like, he was getting a second chance at, new life, like at, starting over. And so, I knew that, it was God saying, just don't give up quite yet, like, it's not finished. I'm not done. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. And so, though, like, we often think, okay, in the Bible, it talks about how God uses animals and stuff like that. Like, I know, like, a preacher at my church, he preached on about ants and how they're busy, workers, and God talks about the ants. And I think about ants, like whenever I see ants now, I'm like, okay, make sure I stay busy and focus on my ministry and stuff like that. So God can use animals and creatures around us to help, us to understand the signals and signs of what it is that we need to do. You think about, like I said, ants, they stay busy and they work. Why? Because they need to collect food for the winter. They need to make sure they're prepared for the winter. So animals and other things in which are in this world can show signs of, God's trying to speak to us in some type of way. And so we're going to kind of look at that. And it says in verse 6, and it came to pass at the end of the 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. And he sent forth a raven which went forth to and fro until the waters were dried up from off the earth. Also he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. And the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him into the ark, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand and took her and pulled her in unto him into the ark. And he stayed yet another 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came back into him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. So here we see that Noah sent out the raven out of the ark. So that was basically, to see, ravens, you think of crows. I went to a cemetery, I went to a funeral, and there was a bunch of crows. They hung there. There was nothing but death there. It was not, it's like, it's in a place where it has a lot of death. You think about how there was just a flood, it was not safe for Noah to get off the ark because, here this was, the raven, he was just flying to and fro. You think about like any vultures, they fly around the dead animals and all the dead carcasses, and it wasn't safe for him. And so he wanted to keep sending out the dove until it was safe. The dove was to bring back, a sign or a signal that it was safe to come back. And finally, we kind of look here in verse 11, where it finally talks about how there was, how he sent out the dove a few times, but finally the dove came back with something that said it was safe. So that kind of goes by saying sometimes, we have to test, or make sure for sure that it is okay to move. We just don't need to just go ahead and make a move. You think about, you think about Peter as he went to go walk out on water. What's the first thing that he said to Jesus? He said, Lord, if you bid me to come, right? And the Lord said, come. He had confirmation that it was okay to come. He didn't just walk out on the water and then just be like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then no, I'm not going to be able to walk on water. So, sometimes if we're going to step out in faith, or if we're going to make some type of move, we need to make sure the move that we're making, that it's safe for us to make that move. I remember when I first left college, I kept, one of the lessons that I preached on was following Christ in faith, to your purpose. And so what was I doing? My lesson was on, talking about if it was Jesus bid me to come, that it was safe to come. And so it was God, and he was telling me to come. So I made sure, for sure, that it was God, and that it wasn't just some crazy action that I was just deciding that I was going to do on my own, but it was something that in which God wanted me to do. Don't make any moves to move forward in your life if God's not in it. You think about Moses as he's he wants to go, I think it is Exodus 33. Yeah, Exodus, I believe it is Exodus. Yeah. So you think about Moses as he wants to go and he wants to move forward, and so he goes to see God and asks him, Lord, basically saying, if you don't come, then I don't want to go. Like, I need your presence to be with me, Lord, and if your presence doesn't go, in verse 15 of 33, it says, and he said unto him, if thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. For where then shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thine sight? It is not in that thou goest with us. So shall we be separated, and I thy people from all the people that are upon the face of the earth. And the Lord said in verse 17, said unto Moses, I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by name, in verse 18. And he said, I beseech thee, show me thy glory. So basically, Moses was not going to make a move. He was not going to move forward unless it was the presence of the Lord that was with him. And we need to make sure that we're not making a move in life, and that we're not doing things or going before God before we decide it is that we're going to move forward or take any steps to step out on faith and go anywhere. Ask for confirmation. Make sure. You think about, like I said, with Noah. Noah could not move off the ark until he knew that it was safe to go. And what assured him that it was safe to go was that he found there was a dove, and the dove came back with an olive branch. And I remember when it's so funny. I remember when I was leaving college and going to leave school, I had ordered the Bible, and I said, okay, the day that the Bible comes in, I'm going to leave. And so my Bible came in a day early, and I was gonna end up leaving the school the next day. Well, the Bible came in early, just in time, which it was supposed to come in 3 days after that, but it came in the day early, and I left school the next day to start my journey, because I was at church the weekend before, and one of the girls, she had a necklace on, and I looked over at her, and it was a dove, and the dove had an olive branch in its mouth, and I said, oh my gosh, this is only God telling me that it's okay, that it's safe for me to go, and I need to start my journey in which it is that he wants me to start. And so after that, I ended up leaving, and I started going on my journey. And so, those are the signs and the signals that, were assuring me that, hey, it's okay for you to go, that I'm with you, that I'm walking with you, and that I'm going along with you on your journey. So we want to make sure that we also pay attention, to confirmation from God. Confirmation is a big thing, for him to confirm, okay, it is okay, I'm confirming this, it's safe, it's all right. Even the dove knew that it was safe, so that reassured, confirmation kind of reassures you that it's okay. And so I'm going to put up the next few questions, and then we're going to carry on. All right, guys? Peace. Has there been any signs and signals that God has given you to let you know that it's okay for you to come or not okay for you to come? How has God confirmed his answer to you? TV, sermons, Bible reading, so that you don't set out without God? Alright, so we are going to basically look at verse number 12, because Noah didn't just leave and get off the ark quite yet. He still had to do some more waiting. So yeah, we're going to kind of look at that in verse 12. It says, and he stayed yet other 7 days, and sent forth the dove, which returned not again unto him any more. So once the dove did not return unto him any more, he knew that it was safe completely for him to go, because the dove had found a place to rest, to nest, and wanted to start its own life of its own and start doing things of its own, meaning he was safe to go. He would be at some point doing the same thing. He'd be able to roam the grounds again, and be able to build a home with his family once more. So it says in verse 13, and it came to pass in the 600th of the first year, in the first month, the first day of the month, that the waters were dried up from off the earth. So here it is also confirming that the waters were all dried up. The dove confirmed that the waters had dried up. And now the Bible is telling us that on whatever day it was, that the waters were dried up from off the earth. And it says, and Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. So once he himself, he knew, because the dove had confirmed that it was time for him to go. But also he knew, because he looked for himself, and the ground was dry. Sometimes, we can see for ourselves, like I said. Like, it just, you can just see the signals in life, that just show us, okay, it's safe. Like I had said, or I was going to say when I first started, like I've recorded this a few times, but basically, like, when you go to cross the street, you kind of look both ways, and you kind of see around you, when you go to press that button and cross the street, even though the light signal says it's okay to cross, if you look around, the stoplight, are all red, so that you can cross. The cross man, sign signal is up saying that it's okay to cross. Everything around you looks safe. Those signals are there to show you, hey, it's okay for you to cross. It's okay for you to go. It's okay for you to move forward and go to the place in which it is that you're going to or trying to get to, because everything around you is in a okay state for you to go. It's safe for you to go. So that's kind of what he's seeing. That it says right there, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. So it was basically safe for him to go. And it says in verse 15, and God spake unto Noah, saying, go forth. So not only did he see for himself that it was okay to go, not only did the dove reassure him that it was okay to go, then God spoke to him and reassured him and said that it was safe for him to go. And so it says in verse 15, and God spake unto Noah, saying, go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee, and all flesh, both the fowl and the cattle, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply upon the earth. And Noah went forth, and his sons and his wife, and his sons' wives with him. And it says, every beast, every creeping thing, every fowl, and whatsoever creepeth upon the earth after their kinds went forth out of the ark. And so basically, it was okay for him to go. God confirmed that it was okay to go. The animals confirmed that it was okay to go. They confirmed when it wasn't okay to go. So you want to make sure that you're looking for the signals and the signs, and communicate, talk to God, ask God, Lord, if this be you, bid me to come. Listen for God's word or God's voice to say, go forth out of the ark, move forward, it's okay, it's safe. Watch, even like I said, God can use animals and things like that in your life to allow you to know that, it's okay. Or like I said before, when I was in Florida, he used a truck that kept saying second chance. I mean, I never seen a truck that said second chance on it before. And it just, at that time I was like, Lord, like, I'll never be able to get a second chance. And then all of a sudden I see like 5 trucks that say second chance, second chance. I'm like, oh my goodness. So look for signs and signals. Sometimes God used like TV programs for me. I don't watch a lot of TV, but like I'll go in my grandma's room, and like I remember I was doing a blog on like for my life after miscarrying, and I was trying to write on like pregnancies and stuff like that, but like using it as like crossing the Jordan. And so like the woman was like, I see a head, because her water broke, and she was gonna have a baby. And so I did it on like breaking the water and crossing the Jordan. And so God used like TV programs and stuff like that. So just watch for the signs and the confirmation. Listen to different lessons at church, and read your Bible to make sure that God is confirming to you when is it okay to move, when is not okay to move, if he's with you on your journey, or if he's not with you, you know. And so I thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the signs and the signals in which it is that God can use to help you move forward in your life. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. All right, you guys, God bless. Peace. Has God told you that it's okay to go forth? Have you took the step of faith to go forth and move forward?